everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Martine, and today I wanted to share with you a story. It's kind of like a public service announcement to anyone who is trying to conceive on their own, or just trying to conceive with a partner but having to use like a sperm bank. So this was so devastating to me. You have no idea. Okay, so the minute I gave birth to my daughter, pushed her out, first of all, the first words out of my mouth were, "That was easy." They all looked at me like I was crazy in that delivery room and said no one has ever said that after having to push a baby out, ever, in their experience. But I did say that. I just expected it to be longer. I expected to like have to push longer, but I pushed for like 15 minutes and she came out. Anyway, as soon as I pushed her out, I kind of was like, I think I could do this again. I think I could have another baby. And I pushed that out of my head because I thought, well, you know, I'm on this high. I just gave birth and like I'm really happy, so maybe it's just the hormones talking. Time went by, and of course, you know, I got busy with my daughter. She had some colic early on, so I was just, you know, really busy being a mom. But that feeling never left me, so I always went back to the Seattle Sperm Bank and looked to see how my donor was doing in terms of like his supply, how much was left. And there was always more than enough, to me, in my opinion. There were like 25 units still available, right? So I thought, okay, I'll hold off because I don't know if I'll change my mind. Like I'm on a budget, I'm not working. I don't want to put my money towards something that I'm still thinking about. So I waited. In November, I looked again. I gave birth in June. So now we're in November, and I'm more seriously thinking about it to the point where I've discussed it with my mom. And, you know, she's kind of like about it, having a second grandchild. So I looked again, still 25. So I thought, okay, I'll just like wait a little bit more because I was still just, I wanted to figure things out financially, like da-da-da-da-da. Anyway, so my cousin came for a visit. She wanted to meet my daughter. So she lives in Atlanta. She came up to New York for a visit for a couple of days. And while she's here, we're talking about, you know, whether or not I would want a second one and this and that. And we were talking about the donor. And so I wanted to show her his pictures and his profile just to see, like, you know, what she thought, whatever. I don't know. We were just talking. So I went in to show her, and then I scrolled down. In a month and a half, all the units gone. Like all 25 units gone. I had to do a double take. I had to read carefully. I'm like, because they have different categories. They have for like ICI, which is like home insemination. They have IUI. Then they have different motilities and all this stuff. So I'm like, maybe I'm looking at the wrong one. Let me, all categories, all sperm, gone. I was devastated. I was so sad. I did not cry, but I was on the verge. I was so upset. So I'm like, oh my God, how could that be? That like I've been checking all these months and like nobody touched it. And then suddenly they're like, in a month and a half, they're all 25. Like there's not one left. So I called immediately. I called the sperm bank. I'm like, how's that possible? I called them and they're like, well, somebody just called yesterday also for the same donor, asking the same thing. And yes, you know, he has sold out. And I think she said the most recent person who purchased bought 8 vials. What? Like, what do you need 8 vials for? What are you, like, taking him off the market? Like, because you have a kid? I mean, it's so crazy. 8 vials of this donor, completely sold out, gone, that this woman took, the last 8. I'm I'm still like wrapping my brain around it. I mean, it was really upsetting. So later, I mean, I had to just deal with it, right? Like, I put myself, so what you can do in this situation is put yourself on a wait list and, just see if somebody doesn't use all of the vials. So, for instance, the woman who bought all 8, the selfish one, I can't even say that because whatever, it's her prerogative. She might want, obviously, more than one kid, like I do. But whatever, I'm in my feelings, so I'll say she's selfish. I lost my train of thought because I'm like so annoyed. But anyway, what you can do is put yourself on a wait list and see if anybody, if they decide they're done, they don't want to use them all, they can sell them back to the sperm bank, and then you can be on the wait list and they'll contact you. I happen to be maybe like 3rd or 4th on the wait list. She said there were a couple of people ahead of me. So I'm praying for that. But in the meantime, I really had to just sort of let go of the hope that I'd be able to have a biological, like she would have a full sibling, but instead of a half sibling. But anyway, so I had to let go of that, and I started looking into some of my other possibilities that I had on my list previously. So I still kept sort of the names and donor numbers and what banks they came from. So I, in case I am not contacted for this particular donor that I use, then I can hopefully use some of the other donors, which is, again, it's not bad, but it's disappointing because I wanted them to have the same donor dad, Anyway, so that's what I've done. And while I was on Instagram one day, the Lord works in mysterious ways. While I was looking on Instagram one day, one of the people that I follow said that she had chosen a donor a year ago with her mom, but unfortunately, when she went back this year, the donor was gone. And I shared my experience. A few minutes later, or an hour, I don't know, later that day, somebody else left a message under what I said and let me know that for the Seattle Sperm Bank, they do have a Facebook group for families who have used their donors that I could join and see if anybody were on there that might have some units available to share or know of, whatever, or maybe I could just find siblings for my daughter. So I immediately went on. I put my whole little spiel about what happened, and within, I swear, 5 minutes, somebody 3 different people maybe contacted me. Oh yes, we used him too. We have a private Facebook group. 2 of the women let me know yes, we still have half a vial. I guess they did IVF, so they still had half a vial, but they want to either use it for themselves or they have already promised it to another family, which is, that's fine because I don't know if I'll need to use IVF. It is a more expensive process, and since I'm not working and my insurance won't cover that right now, I wouldn't be able to do IVF anyway. I'm going to try with IUI like I did with my daughter, so half a vial wouldn't, I think, be sufficient for that. So, but, on the upside, so on the downside, most likely I won't be able to use the donor again. On the upside, I found what they call, I'm new to the community, but I found they call them dibblings, donor siblings. So she has 6 donor siblings, dibblings, all boys except one, so it's 2 girls including my daughter, and then the rest are boys. And then there's the mom who, I think she's the mom of the other girl. She is pregnant with twins with the same donor, so she will be giving birth to twins. So then they'll be up to what did I say? It's 7 of them right now, so that we'll be up to 9 from the same donor, and then another woman is going to use her last embryo to try and get pregnant. So it could be 10 of them. And one of the people in the private group for this particular donor, she's the one who founded the group, who started the group. She has another child from a different donor who has 13 siblings. So in a way, I'm happy that she will get to hopefully know some of her siblings. And it's so crazy how they kind of like look like each other. They don't look exactly like each other, but you can definitely see obviously that they're siblings. A lot of them have a similar hairline, because my daughter has like a distinct hairline, and like similar little noses and eyes. Like they just, oh, it's so cute. So I'm happy for her that she will hopefully, as she grows up, if she chooses to, she can get to know her siblings. And a couple of them live in the United States, so maybe one day they can connect. Several of them live overseas, like I think Australia, New Zealand. But it's really nice that at least, even if I don't conceive, or I'm not able to get pregnant again, that she'll have half siblings that she can get to know, which is really nice. But again, the point of this video was to be a public service announcement for you who are perhaps starting your journey, or you've just conceived or whatever. Like, think about just reserving a couple of samples of units of the donor that you selected, because you never know if you're going to want to have another one. Just in case, I think you should reserve one or two, or if you can afford it, more. Now, you should, before you do that, find out if the bank you have has a buyback policy, meaning you can, if you decide, okay, I'm good with one, or maybe you have 2 kids and then you see like, oh, I'm good with 2, I don't need this other sample, you can sell it back to the sperm bank. So you can ask if they have a buyback policy and see how much of the money you would get back. You won't get 100%, I don't think, of it back, but you could get like 75% of it back or whatever. And then also look into, before you put some on reserve, look into how much the sperm bank will charge you for housing the samples. So I was looking at the sperm bank that I selected for the other donor. If donor number 1 doesn't become available again, that sperm bank, I think for 3 months it's $150, and for 2 years, I forget exactly how much it is for 2 years, but they have like 3 months, 2 years, and then maybe 5 years or something. So obviously, if you've just conceived and you're younger than me, because I just turned 40, you can, put it on reserve for 2 years, and that way you have peace of mind that if you wanted to have more kids, then it's there for you, it's available for you. I don't want you to suffer the consequences I've suffered. And again, I don't want to say suffer, because when I use this other donor, I'll love my child just as much. It's not like, oh, damn it, you. I won't look at them with contempt or anything, but it's just, I was hopeful that I could use the same donor, but it didn't work out. And I think, my daughter has and this is apparently true for her other siblings, her siblings. We've been, chat very little about their personalities and stuff, and they have strong personalities, and my daughter is very headstrong already. She is that girl keeps me busy. She is a busybody, which is why I can only make videos when she's asleep. She is a busybody, and she is already telling you, listen, this is how it's gonna go. And I have to be like, no girl, you listen. And this is how I say it's gonna go. It's already getting there, and she's not even 8 years old. She is determined. She is headstrong. And yeah, so my mom's like, maybe you weren't meant to have two from the same donor, because can you imagine having two kids that are that headstrong and like that strong of a personality? That's a lot. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe you're right. God has a plan for everybody. And the plan for me, I guess, wasn't to have two very strong personality kids. Although who knows what I'll get. What kind of child, what type of personality the next one will have. But the other donor seems to be a little bit more like calm. Even listening to his interview, he just doesn't seem as like, you know, headstrong. So maybe number two will be calmer. We'll see. Anyway, so that's it. That's my public service announcement for you today. If you have any questions about, you know, what I've discussed and just my experience with different sperm banks, I've used 2 different ones so far. You know, when I was trying to conceive with my daughter. Anything like that, just let me know. You can reach me here. You can email me. You can also find me on Instagram. I'm very active on that platform. So you can always DM me there or just like leave me a comment. It's always nice to connect with you. Welcome to any new subscribers, and I will see you next time. Bye.